Hi guys, welcome back. Wales 21, Ireland 16. Wales hang on with the extra man advantage for 70 minutes. They just make it. Two very good tries for Wales, but boy did Ireland play well and fight hard and nearly had a chance to nick it at the end. Where do I start with this game? Wales, hope your heart rates have calmed down a bit. That was tense. Kind of set up by the fact that Peter O'Mahony got that silly red card for a forearm to the face. You just can't do that these days. He did lead with his forearm. A little unfortunate possibly, but yeah, easy red. And it actually led to a brilliant pulsating game. But anyway, let's go through the story and I'll talk about it as we go. Starts off with Tipuric, lovely delayed long pass, leads to a good phase of attack for Wales at the start. They get the penalty 3-0. And actually, when Wales attacked, they looked good. They looked as good as they've looked under Pivac. I could really see what they were trying to do. However, they just didn't attack that much. Ireland dominated possession. And in Ireland's first attack, actually, of the game, I could see they were trying to push the ball. They were trying to force the attack a bit. They were trying to play a bit more. But ironically, when O'Mahony got sent off, Ireland went back a little bit straighter with their forwards and then just let Henshaw and Ringrose do the magic, really, and it really worked. They retained possession, and the fact they've got the two best centres playing in form and fit outside Sexton made the difference, and they did really well as well. Anyway, on 10 minutes, it's only 10 minutes into Lydiot's international return and his knee gives way, which is horrible. He can barely move. I mean, why didn't they take him off straight away? It was obvious his knee was gone. But a minute later, Navidi comes on, so that's super tough for him. And in the whole game, the attrition rate was abysmal. I mean, crikey, they lost so many players both sides. That might really hamper them later in this tournament. Potentially, could lead them maybe not to getting the championship by losing lots of players. Anyway, I'll come back to that one. Again, 13 minutes, Tipuric, more magic and attack. North knocks on poorly, and I was wondering how North's game was going to go, but actually after that, he actually played really well, and he attacked very nicely from 13. Pretty direct, so that's what he does, and a few nice bit of handling as well, looking to offload, so fair play to him. Tipuric could probably play 10 or 13 or anywhere. And it was on 13 minutes that Peter O'Mahony puts the forearm into Francis's face. He gets sent off. It is an easy red, really, in these days. And then you're thinking, is that the game? Surely Wales should win from there, and they should have, and they did. But actually, it was Ireland that really rolled their sleeves up, and got stuck in from that point. I did make a note that Wales' attacking pods were looking good. They know what they're doing. They're using Faletau and Tipuric together to interplay, as they did last year, but it's really starting to pop now. They earned another penalty with that sort of good attack, 6-0, so that's looking good. 6-0, a man up, you're thinking this is going to be a cruise. It definitely wasn't. But then Ireland go into one of their big periods of sustained attack, 23 minutes, 5 minutes in a row of big forward carries. When they try and tip the ball on, it looks a bit forced. Ryan, for example, isn't a natural passer of the ball. When they go a little bit straighter, they look pretty decent, to be honest. Some big carries. Tide Burn was brilliant all game. Stander carried really well. Van der Fleer, etc. So, they really stepped up with a man down. And I just noted one thing that Sexton does do is he does stand still and pass a fair bit these days. Doesn't quite take the ball to the line. Apologies for the noise downstairs. The girls are still passing after the exciting game, I think. But anyway, Ireland fight hard, sustain possession, wins them a penalty. They get back 6-3. And, Wales are putting in some big shots. Alan Wynne-Jones, I thought, actually played pretty well this game. Put in some big hits, good takes off restarts, etc. Wynne-Jones played pretty well. Tipuric and Faletau impressing as well. The problem was, though, they were just on the defence too much. And again, 33 minutes, just that huge stint of possession for Ireland, which is actually classic Ireland when you go back under Schmidt as well, is where they do really well. That sustained possession where you can't get the ball off them, but they are moving the ball a bit more as well than under Schmidt, so that's a big positive for them. They get to 6-all. Lowe's got an absolute monster kick, and he's booming the ball downfield, and we'll come back to that actually towards the end of the game. Anyway, Wales are starting to struggle in the line out. on 36 minutes, they lose another line out, and then Henshaw makes a brilliant solo break, and he's not only like just a straight run, he has to go from one side of the ruck to the other side of the ruck. I think he makes Tipperick slip over. The blind side hadn't pushed up, as they did say in the commentary, and he sets up offloads and sets up the try for Byrne to pick and go over. Byrne had a brilliant game. So Ireland are actually winning at half time, which is mental, 13-6, and Wales have had an extra man for most of that half. So, I mean, it's a high attrition. I just made a note here. Lydia had gone off. Thomas Williams' hamstring went, and he was looking pretty good, so that's a big blow for him. Ryan, I think, got a head injury. Amani obviously got a red, so he'll be banned. Johnny Williams got injured, I think, with another head injury, and there were some others later on in the game, so not great. But at half-time, I was just making a note, surely Wales can make this extra man count, and obviously, ultimately, they do. But it starts off all Ireland again, stripping the ball in the tackle, showing real tenacity. Wales had to simplify their line out, which is smart, and they started winning a few more line outs after that. And then on 48 minutes, they get the breakthrough, the try through North. Makes a couple of hard runs before that, actually, North, and then it's a 2-on-1 at the end, and Lowe just does no man's land. He half goes on North, he half drifts on the winger, and North sees the gap, can't believe it, powers through, good finish. Ireland's forwards are looking powerful, but Tipperick, good turnover, Amos kicks straight out, and there was a few things like that for Wales where you think, are they going to blow it? Surely if they keep hold of possession, if they're tidier, they'll get the game. Kilcoyne and Furlong come on. I think Furlong does really well. Henshaw goes off for an HIA, but actually comes back on and carries on doing well when he goes off. But then we get the try. Penalty to Wales. They go to a 5-metre line out. Surely this is it, I wrote, and yes, it was. Great hands from, I think, North and Halfpenny. Louis Rees-Zammit just gas in the corner. Good dive and finish. 18-13. It's looking good for Wales at this point, making the extra man tell there. That's a classic overlap with good hands with the extra man. And then a silly block from Murray goes to a penalty. Wales line out on the 22, just win it. And Tyg Byrne again, very unfortunate to get penalised. I don't think it was a penalty, but anyway, Wales go 21-13. Sexton has a penalty, but he misses touch, and they did this a couple of times in the end of the game. Ireland missed touch, had some shockers, really could have won the game actually, and then Sexton's knocked out, and he still manages to be petulant whilst concussed, which is impressive. I'm not sure what he was whinging about because I couldn't see anything wrong, but anyway, he goes off moaning, kind of standard. Burns comes on and actually does well with ball in hand attack, which is where he's good. His kicking was awful though. A couple of kicks to touch went nowhere. But for the whole of the end of this game, the whole 10 minutes of the end of this game, it's all Ireland possession. Wales get a little bit of ball, but Ireland turn it over and they go a full 80 metres of running attack to get back into contention. And then they get a penalty with a fairly simple kick to touch to go 5 or 10 metre out, line out. And Billy Burns kicks it dead. Unbelievable. What an error. Yeah, his kicking was poor at the end there. Ireland maybe could have, should have won it. I don't know. 21-16 to Wales. To be fair to Wales, when they had the chances, they finished them very nicely. North, good finish. Louis Rees-Zammit, good finish. Wales' attack looked great. They just didn't do it that much. I mean, England hardly attacked at all in their game, but at least Wales did attack and made them count. But Ireland had huge sustained pressure and possession and territory with 14 men, which is worrying. However, Wales get the win. That's all that matters, I guess. Ireland will be absolutely gutted, I think. Peter O'Mahony really should apologise to his team because potentially Ireland, by the way they played, probably could and should have won that game. But maybe that red card actually did them a favour and really made them fight hard. It seemed like a classic Andy Farrell type fight. But anyway, Wales get the win. Ireland miss out. Some bad errors towards the end for Ireland. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time.